Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead Season 7 topic video. In this one, we're going to be talking about the storyline from which the Walking Dead Season 7 should most likely be based on. Going to give my thoughts. Let's talk about what will most likely happen next. As usual, this video will contain spoilers. If you don't want any information about the Walking Dead Season 7 storyline, then you may not want to watch this video. So, broken it down in the past before, we've talked about the translation or adaptation of the Walking Dead comic book series and how it translates to each season of the Walking Dead. Now, each season is a little bit different because sometimes they add in a little bit more filler in certain seasons. Like, for example, Season 4, there was actually quite a bit. We had kind of the sickness stuff in the prison and that. And Season 5 was actually pretty good. There was a little bit less than in Season 4. It had covered basically about 3 to 3.5 of the trade volumes, which would transfer to about almost 20 issues of the Walking Dead comic book series, roughly, yeah. So Season 6 was actually covered quite a bit. There was almost any filler compared to some of the past seasons, and it actually covered half of Something to Fear, which is Volume 17, and it went from actually before No Way Out, because you had in the Walking Dead comic book series, you go from basically Season 5's end, Season 6 starts, No Way Out, all the way through 3, and then half of this. So 3.5, almost like 4, because there's certain parts that they included that weren't included prior. So 4 trades. So for Season 7, we're most likely looking at half of this, which is the rest of this, so the second half of Something to Fear, and then also Volume 18, so What Comes After, Volume 19, March to War, and then Volume 20, All Out War Part 1. There's 2 parts to All Out War. So that should make the second half of The Walking Dead Season 7 with the beginning half of The Walking Dead Season 8 probably the best season of The Walking Dead, or the most exciting part of The Walking Dead ever coming up. So we haven't really seen it yet, even though the series I think has been incredible so far. All Out War is, I think, yeah, it's probably the best part. It's even, I'd say it's even better than the end of the prison story arc with the governor attacking everything from the comic book series, which was also adapted incredibly into the TV series. So the rest of Something to Fear. So what happens in Something to Fear, and how will they adapt it most likely into Season 7? And also, I should say that I do think we're going to see some more filler in Season 7, some more stuff that they add in for the television series. Similar to, a good example would be the Beth story arc from Season 5. That story arc is, Slabtown is 1, Consumed, Crossed, and Coda. So that is 4 whole episodes. So that's over a quarter of the season. So 4 whole episodes, like half of a half, right? That part, and then there was a little bit more because you had some of the best stuff before that. That was entirely filled in for the TV series. So that was an entirely additional thing that they added in for Season 5 that was not in the comic book series at all, which really allowed for them to use less of the Walking Dead comic book series storyline because they were able to put that in there and kind of space that out. Season 6, they didn't do it as much. They added in a few things like Here's Not Here for Morgan, and a few things like that. Kind of the fake death for Glenn was pretty good add-in. Most of the rest of the first half was almost the same. Always Accountable, I guess, is kind of an add-in too. And then the second half, you have kind of Not Tomorrow Yet, which is kind of an add-in. And the rest, The Same Boat is sort of an add-in. But it's pretty exciting anyway with the Saviors. And then the rest of it is pretty much the same. Twice as Far, parts and parts. So Season 6 did not have quite as much filler, I want to say, as Season 5. Season 7 we're probably due for some. So keep that in mind, that we may see a brand new storyline that, none of us can really predict or expect, because it'd be something they'll probably add in to really fill out, because they don't want to catch up in terms of the comic book series where it's at. If they stick to a few trades a season, they'll probably be fine. The comic book series will always be ahead. Otherwise, they may actually run into the territory where they have to worry about catching up. So the rest is Something to Fear. So, of course, in the premiere of Season 7, we're going to find out in the premiere, obviously, who who Negan killed. I don't think they'll have any kind of time skip or anything. I think they'll actually show us, the parts of what it is. Spoiler warning again if you don't want to know. So in the comic series, of course, you had Negan and Glenn, and they show that, and that's about absolutely brutal. So I'm assuming we're going to see one of the most brutal premieres ever. It's hard to even look at, even the comic series. Imagine the TV series version. So Greg Nicotero, I'm predicting he's probably going to be the one to do the premiere. Let's be honest here. He can do it better than anybody else, and he's a treat for them to have in The Walking Dead because he just adds so much to the show. So we're probably going to see some awesome zombie, or not zombie, but not zombie, actual real brain tissue, flying around and stuff. Should be crazy. Maggie losing it on Rick because of what happens, and I'm still thinking at this time I still think it's probably going to be Glenn. And then we see what happens after that. They continue on to the hilltop, so they're still going to bring Maggie to the hilltop most likely. Rick's going to probably beat the crap out of Gregory because he's going to be pissed off that Gregory didn't tell him how tough Negan was, because Gregory's kind of in the TV series too, he seems like even more of a jerk than the comic series. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he's willing to kind of, after a little while, Maggie thinks she gets the better end of the deal, but it's like, does she really get the better end of the deal? Gregory's holding information. So he's kind of like a jerk for doing that. Now, this will be interesting to see how they're going to adapt this. When they get back to Alexandria was attacked when they were gone by some saviors, and they have, in the comic series, they have Dwight captured. Of course, we know in the TV series that can't happen because Dwight is actually with them in that location. So will they have had Gabriel defend Alexandria in the premiere and had another group attack while they were gone or something, and then have had Gabriel capture somebody or something? That'd be cool, but I almost think like Gabriel doing that, would they really do it? Spencer and Gabriel fighting, but I don't know, it just doesn't fit right. So maybe they won't even use that part in the television series at all, and then have Rick tell them, oh, wait a minute, you guys got to release whoever it is you've captured, whatever saviors you have, let them go because you have no idea what you're messing with, and we just found out, and Glenn got his head smashed in, or whoever. So whoever it is, let go, that type of deal. Again, we'll have to see if they adapt that, because Gabriel being the one to capture is a little weird. Volume 18, what comes after? So most likely, this will probably be a few episodes after. So the premiere, probably episode 1, and then we'll probably get right into this kind of deal after, dealing with kind of how everybody's feeling and stuff in the premiere, episode 2. Maybe this would be like 3, 4, 5 of episodes of season 7. What comes after? So after Negan does his thing and bashes in whoever's head he does, eventually you've got Jesus, who's tracking probably some of them after and finding out where their home base is eventually in the first few episodes of season 7, like the first half of the first half. We get them going back, maybe a little bit of slow time, and then without too much delay, probably in the first few episodes, you'll have Negan who'll come and bang on the gate, little pig, let me in, and then of course they'll come for their first offering. Maybe we'll get to see Negan smash a few zombie skulls in the first few episodes. That'll be cool because we haven't really seen that. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's interpretation of how he uses the bat against zombies should be fun to see, and that could be a great part right there, just to finally see that, because again, we're waiting so long, and we know that Negan can crack some heads, he can crack some skulls, but to see him against zombies would be pretty cool. So they have to give Negan their stuff, which is going to happen, but this is pretty spoilery too. So in the comic book series version, Carl chases Negan back, or he gets into one of the vans and goes after Negan because Negan killed one of his friends, and so Carl kills a bunch of them actually with an assault rifle that's like bigger than he is, which is fun. So how will Chandler Riggs, will they have Chandler Riggs go after him? And I almost think they've already set up for that, because Chandler Riggs, he is he's in the finale for season 6, Last Day on Earth, he's like ready to go all the time. He's like, let's get him, let's kill him, right? So he seems to not be, he's not afraid or anything, and he's almost reckless, which is like the story arc that will probably be coming up for him in the TV series in season 7. So he'll be killing a bunch of the saviors, and then Negan getting pissed off, and then spending some time with Negan, which should be fun for maybe an episode or 2. That would probably bring us into episodes about 3 or 4, maybe up to about 5. We get to see a little bit of Negan's backstory. Maybe they'll throw in a flashback for Negan around episode 5, because last year they did, or season 6 they did, Morgan with Here's Not Here. So I'd expect to see something like that around that time frame, and us getting to find out about Negan and see how he has all these different wives and shit, and then eventually Chandler Riggs showing Jeffrey Dean Morgan his eye socket. That should be funny. So that should be episode like 4 or 5, somewhere around there. That should be cool. And then eventually, of course, Rick finding out that Carl's gone, freaking out, and Negan going to bring Carl back to Alexandria. Let's see where that occurs in which one. Yeah, so right here, and then maybe Rick and Negan fighting a little bit more, that kind of deal. Rick is never that easy for Negan to keep in line. Even when he kind of does what he has to do, he isn't. And, Rick is tough. I mean, he fights tooth and nail, and he, bites him. And this part right here, did you fucking bite me? For fuck's sake, man. So that'll be a fun part to see, too, probably around, episode 5 or something, 4 or 5. It should be pretty exciting. Then that gives us a few more to bring us to the half. So how will they kind of, because we know, of course, for the mid-season finale, they've got to have something big happen. So in this one, the way this one ends, let's see, we got at the end, we find out about the kingdom, and we find out about, we meet Ezekiel and that. So, that should happen in the first half, but probably closer to, let's see here, what part would this be at if you translate this? Probably around episode 6, near the mid-season finale, and then maybe finding out that they're going to attempt to overthrow the Saviors, because there's other communities of Saviors that are paying up to the Saviors, including the Hilltop, now Alexandria, and then, of course, the Kingdom, which we're going to meet probably near the mid-season finale. Then we go into March to War, so this one will be near the halfway point where they're getting prepared. You have the joint communities, you have Rick, you have the Hilltop with Jesus. He's their best fighter and and he's fast and everything, so that's fun. And then Ezekiel at the Kingdom. And they're basically preparing to get ready for war. So that should take us into about the halfway mark of season 7, halfway through season 7. So it'll be interesting to see what they do for the season finale, because there isn't really a climactic part to this part right here, unless they do something like in the season, have the mid-season finale end with them meeting Ezekiel at that time in the Tiger or something. But that'd be kind of a while to hold that part back. They'd have to shuffle things around and do that. So we'll see if they decide to do that. But there's not a climactic moment at this part unless they add something in or filler. So maybe that'd be a good point for them to do some filler, or if they have Negan come and have a visit and maybe run into trouble with somebody who I'll keep that under wraps, because I don't want to ruin that if they adapt it directly, because they might. Then that could be something for a mid-season finale right there. And then kind of put the part where they're meeting Ezekiel, and they're getting ready for that afterwards. So that by the end of that, there's another battle here, which is pretty exciting too. So that could be around the mid-season finale time range. That would make sense for that. And we'll see when they put in the filler and they do that. But this one's great too. And then to end the season off, of course, in the second half, we'll be looking at the beginning of the war, of All Out War. So when I look over the comic book series, really, there's a lot of, even though Rick's group is under the Saviors and they're giving them food and they're giving them supplies and everything, it's never really that submissive. It's never like Rick and the group. They kind of have to be, but they fight back constantly against them, and they're just looking for a time to kind of go after them when they can, up until this part here, which where the actual all-out war actually starts with Negan and the Saviors, which you may think in the television series we've already kind of seen some war, some battles. We have with Not Tomorrow Yet and that in season 6, but it won't be like this. This is going to be a different scale, I would think. I mean, this is going to be a different level. You're going to have, instead of maybe a dozen people on each side fighting, like when we saw Too Far Gone with the governor, he had his tank and he had a group of maybe, what was it, maybe around 20 maximum, 15, somewhere around there, over a dozen. And then Rick and the group, they had, maybe a little less in terms of numbers. All Out War would be more like 50 to 100 survivors fighting each other. So that's a different scale of something we've seen that we haven't seen yet. So season 7's second half and season 7's finale, with all these different little battles and skirmishes and the way they're going to remix it and kind of move things around to fit in the TV series. Maybe a flashback of Negan or Dwight here and there, show us what happened kind of in between the time with Dwight maybe in the first half. It should make season 7 a fantastic season. I still think kind of the end of All Out War, which would be probably season 8, should be the best season ever of The Walking Dead. Even after, I think season 8, if they adapt All Out War Part 2, that should still be the best season ever, at least the first half. But season 7 is definitely going to be amazing. And if they follow the comic book series and they have this much action and everything mixed in, and that, you guys know I love my action, it should be the best season of The Walking Dead yet. It should surpass 6. for me, even though 6 is my favorite right now. Season 5 was great too, but season 7 should be the best season they've done yet, based on the material. So most likely that's how it's going to go down. Probably something like that with a few add-ins here and there and a few things swapped around for timing and for for everything as they do it. We'll have to see what episodes are extended. If they do like a 90-minute premiere, they can fit a lot into that, and kind of how they decide to handle the the March to War mid-season part and what they use for that. Probably some kind of skirmish between the Saviors and the Survivors. So I am really looking forward to season 7. Can't wait to see it because this is one of the best parts in all The Walking Dead. It's like I said, All Out War is probably the best, and this is the first part to it and the lead up to it, and then the finale, the climax in season 8 should again even be better than season 7. So it should progressively get better, and then after season 8, maybe things will get a little slow for a while. Season 9, that type of deal, but that should be about the pinnacle of the series. Should be next season's finale, season 7 finale, and season 8's first half. Unless they change a lot of stuff and they add a ton of stuff in. So can't wait, obviously, for season 7. If you guys have questions for Q&A, Trev, how do you think they're going to adapt this? How do you think they're going to adapt that? Go ahead and send them to me through the About tab of the channel. We'll do another Q&A again soon. And if you guys missed my review of The Walking Dead: The Alien, it's a cool comic book series issue. It's in the channel. You can check it out. You can read it yourself online. There's information in that video on how to do that. And if you guys like this video, you know what to do. As usual, please thumb it up below if you have other people, other friends, or anybody who likes The Walking Dead and might be interested to find out what season 7 storyline will be based on and adapted from. You can go ahead and share at the bottom, share through to Facebook. I appreciate everybody who shares, likes, and favorite as well, if you wouldn't mind. So that'll be it for this one. If you're new to the channel and you want to subscribe, you can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again real soon for a Q&A. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. See you guys.